Now, live on 10 Tampa Bay, rising waters, rising fears, some leaving their homes again. The days-long fallout from Milton.
Dry pumps fuel tense moments, gas stations running out, the long lines as people anxiously wait to head home.
And the push to restore power, where the progress stands tonight.
Keeping you informed, prepared, and connected. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay.
Tonight, we have seen busy interstates, lines and lines and lines for gas stations. Patience is wearing thin, exhaustion amid the cleanup as you see the damage. Hurricane Milton added to the Tampa Bay area. Thank you for joining us here on 10 Tampa Bay at 5. I'm Courtney Robinson.
I'm Frank Wiley. Thousands still sitting in the dark, too, hoping for power soon. And President Biden set to visit the area Sunday. Meantime, this is a current look at Duke Energy's outage map. Well, tonight, more than 5 Hernando and Highlands, as well as Polk, will have their lights back on Sunday. Pasco and Pinellas counties could see power return Tuesday. Meantime, TECO has another 512,000 customers in the dark. No word on when crews can get the lights back on.
Tonight, live team coverage takes you to Pasco County as rivers flood. In Polk County, the battle at the pump as drivers nearing E search for gas. And in Manatee County, some barrier islands look to reopen tomorrow.
And I want to show you this right here, video of a 91-year-old woman rescued from her home in Lithia. You can see the water already high near the Alafaya River, but officials are concerned the water will continue to rise. Neighborhoods near the Alafaya River saw nearly 7 inches of rain during that storm.
To protect the Edward Medard Reservoir, the county's released water into the Alafaya River. If you're in that low-lying area, there is a voluntary evacuation order. Angelina Salcido is live on the banks of the Alafaya tonight. And Angie, we saw deputies patrolling earlier. What are failing you tonight?
And they're still patrolling right now. They actually got here at around 5 a.m. and then continued doing those rescues throughout the morning. If you take a look behind me, you're going to see why they had to do those rescues. These are the boats that they're going out on. But the river, the Alafaya River, has crested to a level that they have never seen here before. People are used to getting a few feet of water in this area, but they are not used to getting about 4 to 5 feet more than what they were expecting. So a lot of these people that live here have boats. They have ways to get out. And so that's why that voluntary evacuation order is underway right now. We just rode on the boats a little while ago with the deputies, and we actually saw people that were still in their homes. That's because they're a little bit higher up than the other homes that are completely inundated with water. But really, the reason why they're staying there is because they want to make sure that they protect their homes, because the water has not yet reached the point where it's getting inside of their homes. And again, they still have power. They're kind of used to doing this. We spoke to one guy who was saying, you know, I feel comfortable here. I've gotten a little bit wet, but I think that I'm just going to stay. Now, the sheriff's office does say that if people do end up feeling uncomfortable, feel like they have just gotten to the point where they can't be here anymore, they can always call the sheriff's office to be rescued. While we were out on the boat, we spoke to one gentleman whose house is underwater. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Flooding? Shit, terrible. Ain't no good. I didn't think it can be like this, really. A lot of sad people. You know, it's terrible. It looks like a house is on a lake. It ain't no good.
Now, he actually evacuated to get away from the storm. He went to Orlando, ended up coming home, and came back to this, something that was completely unexpected. The sheriff's office, Sheriff Chad Cronister, was actually on one of the boats that rescued a 91-year-old woman earlier on today. And everyone's story is different, but at the same time, they are forming a community out here. Another get through this. It's going to take several hours for the water to go down, and the sheriff's office is going to continue being out here until it's safe for people to officially come back. The Lithia Pinecrest Road is going to maintain being closed in Tampa Bay.
Meeting people who are grieving in real time. Thanks, Angie. And in Pasco, if you live in low-lying areas, there is a risk for flooding.
Tonight, officials are asking people at risk to leave. 10 Tampa Bay's Hannah Deneen is live in Elfers. And Hannah, the river's flooded streets, yards, homes, and efforts are shifting to other areas as the river crests.
It is, Courtney, and I'll get to that in a moment. But first, I want to show you what's happening here in Elfers. This is State Road 54 in Elfers for people who live in the area. We're right across the street from the Bells. There's an Arby's further down the road. And no, State 54 is not normally this quiet. The roads are blocked up for about a mile here because of the flooding that you might be able to see further down the road. But take a look at this over here. This is Celtic Drive here in Elfers, and this is just a sense of some of the deeper water, the flooding that we're seeing here in Elfers right now. This is the flooding from the Anclote River, and right now the Anclote River is peaking at a flood stage of more than 26 feet, according to NOAA. Now, Pasco County has been doing non-stop high water rescue since yesterday because of flooding just like this. I'm told that they've had to rescue roughly 200 people because of this quick flooding that has poured into some communities, neighborhoods that are just like the one across from this, river, frankly, that's running through this roadway here. Like you said, Courtney, Anclote's not the only area, not the only river that's flooding. Elfers is not the only area that's seeing flooding. Over in Zephyr Hills right now, we're hearing of rescues that are happening because of flooding on the Hillsborough River, also at a major flood stage tonight. And then also the Withlacoochee River for folks who are in Pasco, but also Hernando and Citrus County. That's not expected to peak until early next week. So they're concerned there about folks seeing flooding all throughout the weekend into early next week. Sandbag sites are open, but really the message tonight is if you live in a low-lying area that is impacted by flooding from rivers and lake, you're urged to get to higher ground. Live in Elfers, Hannah Deneen, 10 Tampa Bay.
So when will we see relief in these waters coming down? Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins.
So the big ones that are cresting now that we just showed you, those are starting to crest now between now and tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon. Sometimes they lag a little bit of the forecast. Notice where the heaviest rain was for the storm. Obviously made landfall right down here. All of it was to the north of the center, and there was a ton of it. These numbers are Doppler estimated, so anywhere from about 8 to 14 inches. But some of the actual numbers that we saw for high numbers, St. Pete, almost 19 inches. Clearwater, just about the same. Ruskin, 18 inches. Pinellas County EOC, which, by the way, they did a tremendous job organizing through this system, 17 inches. Tampa, it appears it may have crested today. Just in the last several hours, the forecast does have it coming down later tonight and into tomorrow. But this is not like storm surge where the storm comes and it blows all that water up and then it blows it right back out, or it comes down pretty quickly. This will take days to go down, and it's a slow, painstaking process to watch that water go down. Let's go the Alafaya River in Lithia Pinecrest Road. To me, I know the forecast is higher, but if you notice what's happened here the last couple of hours, it looks like it may have crested. It might come up just a little bit more, but I don't think we get too much more there at Lithia Pinecrest Road area on the Alafaya, and that too will take days for it to slowly come down. It will be dropping. It's just that it will take time for it to go back down below flood stage. Now, the Hillsborough River, this is out near Zephyr Hills State Park. You can see it crested yesterday or early this morning, and it is slowly coming back down. Now, there are other places like Waimama, and plus you get up into eastern Hernando County. Some of those, Cypress Creek at Worthington, that one's going to take a little bit longer to crest, and that's probably not going to crest until we get into the beginning of next week. But those major rivers that we're seeing the real bad flooding right now, they look like they are cresting. That is good news. Now, there is a little bit of rain in the forecast, and you see it raining now, but it's well south of where we've seen all that. Remember, all the heavy rain was up here, and that's just some light rain. I think we've got a 10% chance or less for showers here in our neck of the woods for the next 12 hours. In fact, it's actually not bad, right? Falling out of the low 80s into the 70s, and we'll get back into the 60s by early tomorrow morning to get the day started. We do have a small rain chance in the extended forecast. I'll talk about that coming up.
Bobby, thank you. Tonight, people are desperately searching for gas. If you can find it, well, get it. But there's also some very long lines you'll have to wait in. Our crew saw this at the Bradenton Walmart earlier. While hundreds of stations are dry, you'll see pumps wrapped with signs saying no more gas. The state promises that they do have fuel on the way.
Yeah, Governor DeSantis throughout the storm saying more gas is coming. And tonight, 10 Tampa Bay's Miguel Octavio joining us in Lakeland. And Miguel, the gas stations need to be topped off.
Frank, I can tell you people here are growing more frustrated and impatient. This is perhaps the second gas station we've seen here in Lakeland where there's actually gas. We just spoke with a woman moments ago, and she said she waited a couple hours just to fill her car with gas. This shot right here, it doesn't give you justice to just how long this line is. It just wraps around bumper to bumper, shoulder to shoulder, on the shoulder of US 98 here. People are already dealing with flooding within their own homes. They're lacking resources. The power still out in many parts of the county. So this is the last thing that people want to deal with. I saw some people even pushing their cars to the gas stations because they were already out. People walking, hopefully filling up gallons of gas here as well. I met one person who ran out of fueling just to be able to get some of that gas. I want you to pay attention to part of what he has to say. Take a listen.
And my car just ran out of gas, you know what I'm saying? I was buckling down for the hurricane, throughout the hurricane. I couldn't find any gas that whole couple days. It's kind of a struggle, man. It's kind of annoying, but it is what it is.
And now we know the state says more gas is on its way and people here want to see it. Again, this is the last thing that they want to deal with. And we know this isn't just an issue here in Lakeland and Polk County. Even the Pasco County Sheriff's Office says they're getting numerous calls for service over arguments and disputes over people at the gas lines. I can tell you we've seen a number of arguments behind here as well. So they are asking people to stay patient. We know it feels like a madhouse out here, but everyone here is on the same boat and they just want to minimize the tension that people are already under after the impact from Hurricane Milton. But the reality is here, people are feeling frustrated, impatient, already having to deal with so much at home. Certainly a situation for us here too, having to wait for gas, just like everyone here in line. Frank and Courtney.
I have been on the receiving end of that frustration. Thank you, Miguel. A crane continues to block a major artery in downtown St. Pete. In the next half hour, the calls from state leaders now to better handle that situation and plans to remove damaged debris out there.
Memories gone. In just minutes, we take you live to Anna Maria Island, the damage and plans for people to get back into their homes. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay.
10 Tampa Bay closed captioning is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
You're watching 10 Tampa Bay, and tonight, in some cases for the very first time, we are seeing island communities. Islanders are ready to get back to their homes and begin the recovery process that they started 2 weeks ago. There are plans at this hour to reopen Holmes Beach.
Now, police say the re-entry process for businesses and residents will begin tomorrow morning. The barrier islands will have to regroup after Hurricane Milton, and Holmes Beach, not the only barrier island hit hard with two major hurricanes. You're looking at the popular Rod and Reel Pier on Anna Maria Island. Officials there say the pier was destroyed by Milton.
10 Tampa Bay's Emerald Morrow joins us live from Anna Maria Island. And Emerald, crews are working just as fast as they can to clear that debris, but there is quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely right, Courtney. And sure that everything is back in order before they begin to welcome visitors back onto the island. If I just step out of the way, I want to give you a good look at some of the waterfront damage that we are seeing here on Anna Maria Island. It is just absolutely devastating what we are seeing out of here. And then also, if we don't mind going ahead and rolling on that video of the pictures that we have of the Rod and Reel Pier. This is again one of the reminders that we have of how powerful Hurricane Milton was as it blew through our area here. You can see what Rod and Reel Pier looked like before. But if we come back out here live, I want you to take a look at what is left of Rod and Reel Pier. Really nothing. It's heartbreaking. The place a lot of people come to in this community, and I mentioned earlier how putting us into the island up here, saying how he was just so shocked because the place that he would come to.
Big thanks to Emerald for that report right there. Obviously some connectivity issues. Many of us are dealing with our own cell phones, as you can imagine, because of that storm, but demonstrating how awful That place looks like a lot of spaces around the way.
Yeah, that's just I think, scratching the surface maybe on Anna Maria Island and some of our other communities. Heartbreaking. She also showed earlier that there were some homes that did escape damage this time around. They obviously had water damage from Helene, but this time they appeared to be okay. Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins joining us now. And Bobby, we do need some relief so that crews can really get this work done fast.
And we have that. We definitely have quieter weather out there right now. It's cooler weather. If you remember, after Helene, it was hot, it was humid. We were tying record highs, 93 and 94, 2 days in a row. That's not the case now. 80s, mid-80s for highs, 60s for lows. That will continue. It'll be a little bit more on the humid side than what it's been the last day or two, but that's not bad. We'll take that for this time of the year. So let's get you live out there right now. We basically have satellite radar showing we've got clear skies more than anything else the further north you go. But then the further south you go, including Tampa, St. Pete, these higher clouds are coming in. So it's kind of clouded up, especially Tampa southward. Rain has stayed off for most folks except for southern Highlands County. Now getting up there, even north. County's okay. DeSoto got a few showers, especially south of Arcadia, and then down towards the Fort Myers area, they do have a little bit of rain. I just don't think we get a lot of rain here. I do think the cooler air that's been coming down the coast here is actually what has been cooling us off. But if you look back to the west, there's warm air. And that's a high pressure sitting right here, okay? So on one side, you've got southerly winds to warm them up. On the other side, northerly winds to cool them down. Milton, as it pulled away, went out that way, it allowed those cooler air, those winds to bring that cooler air down. That's going to change a little bit, and we'll go into the mid-80s towards this weekend into the beginning of next week, but then we have more changes coming there. 82 in Tampa, 81 in Lakewood Ranch, 82 in St. Pete and Brooksville. West Chapel's at 83 right now. Not a lot of wind, but I was out earlier, had a little bit of a breeze at times. Felt really good. I like the breeze. That's it. Not wind, but a breeze. 7 miles per hour in Tampa with a gust of 16 miles per hour. So that's a nice little breeze. Now here's this evening. It's about 8:30. Most areas are dry. Overnight, we will clear out the skies. Did you see it on my social media stuff on my Facebook page or even Instagram? The northern lights. We had a G5 level magnetic storm last night. I saw them from northwest Hillsborough. You could see them in the Bahamas again. That's the second time this year that's happened. Clearer skies for tonight, but it's down to a G1 magnitude. So that means it's not in the northeast U.S. They'll have a better chance of seeing that. Now, you can see Saturday afternoon at 6:30. The clouds kind of look like they do out there now. They thicken up a little bit, but just a really small chance for a shower, 10 to 20%. I think it's 10% will cover it. There's not a lot of rain coming. So comfortable, let's put it that way, down through the 70s this evening, mid to upper 60s first thing for your Saturday morning. Weekend's here. What day is it? Really, you don't even know right at this point, right? 84 for a high temperature tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies. Again, just a few more clouds in the afternoon. It's similar to what we did yesterday. We'll do it again today. And we'll do it again tomorrow. So there's the front about it. This is Tuesday, so we actually have another one coming, and that'll happen on Monday. And then we may get another one. That's the one we really bring the cool air. That would take until Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday time frame. But that's one big area of high pressure. Now, having said that, this time of year, still tropical season, when you get a big ridge of high pressure, you look underneath that for possible tropical development. And the models are doing that. You see this right here? See that little spin? That is at least the GFS model saying, hey, let's watch this area right in here as we get into Wednesday. That's Wednesday night into Thursday, trying to pop up something here. And you've probably seen this on the internet. I just didn't have the heart to mention it the last couple of days. Don't need to, really. But now we're within a week. But look what the latest run does. By about a week from tomorrow, it moves it into Mexico towards, well, actually Honduras, basically Central America, and pushes it off towards the west. So we don't have to worry about it. This is just a model run. It'll flip-flop. Right now, there's no worries. I'm not going to mention it a whole lot because we've got enough going on as it is. But just remember, the season goes through the end of November, okay? And that is an area that we watch for tropical development this time of year. So there are mid-80s through Monday and Tuesday. Kind of warm, especially Monday and Tuesday. But Tuesday, I think we get that front through here. Knock it down in the upper 70s to near 80 for Wednesday and Thursday. And yeah, I think some spots, especially as we get into Thursday morning, but even on Wednesday morning, we'll be in the upper 50s to get the day started. That will feel nice, and that'll be the first time we've done that since last season.
Bobby, thank you. Down trees on your home, in your yard, street, still to come. We ask the experts what you need to do as you clean up.
And you know what? It's common before and after the storm to see price hikes or you're not taking advantage of.
10 Tampa Bay is sponsored by Integrity Home Solutions, where details matter.
You're watching 10 Tampa Bay as we continue our coverage of the aftermath of Hurricane Milton. And we know that there are a lot of questions that you have in the aftermath of the storm. So during an hour-long special right here on our 10 Tampa Bay Plus app, we asked the experts.
Yeah, we got you covered. So we talked with the experts from FEMA and in the fields of insurance, electricity, tree trimming as well, and pest control about what to do before and after storms. Here's what you need to know about trees on your property.
If it's a hazardous tree, they don't need to do it themselves. Most dangerous piece of equipment ever designed was a chainsaw. So if you're not a professional, don't attempt it. Bring in somebody, have the tree cut up, they can haul it off. Haul it up separately, as they were saying, from the household debris.
You can watch the entire Ask the Expert special right now on that free 10 Tampa Bay Plus app downloaded on your streaming device or smart TV. And we are live as rivers rise and rescues continue. Live team coverage next.
Tonight at 5:30, we are staying on top of recovery efforts after Hurricane Milton hit the Bay Area. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay at 5:30. I'm Courtney Robinson.
I'm Frank Wiley. 2 days after Hurricane Milton made landfall near Siesta Key as a Category 3 storm, millions still don't have power. Here's part of the reason why: trees toppling onto homes. Neighborhoods look like rivers, and drivers now scrambling to find gas. Right now, we have crews across the Bay Area, too, bringing you team coverage of the recovery efforts underway, from heroic rescues to new looks at the devastation Milton left behind.
Right now, Pasco, Hernando, and Hillsborough counties urge you to take action as rivers are flooding their banks. Hillsborough County deputies got started very early this morning, patrolling flooded neighborhoods, evacuating families from their homes near the Alafaya River. Deputies were able to get to this family of 8 in Dover. They say the water in their house was more than 6 feet in places. And tonight, great news, all 8 are safe. 10 Tampa Bay's Angelina Salcido is live along the Alafaya River in Hillsborough County right now.
Angelina, you have been out there all day long, too, and you've seen people needing to be rescued from their homes.
And it has been a massive effort by the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office to try and rescue people after they feel unsafe because they're getting feet of water in their homes. Now, some people that we saw that are still back there right now have water probably up to here on them. That is a significant amount of water. Take a look behind me just so that you can kind of get a perspective. The low-lying areas here are where the water is being most impactful. So this home halfway covered right here, but in the distance, you can see that mailbox, and the water is almost covering that mailbox. If you go deeper into these communities, you're going to be able to see that that is what's happening. We've seen cars that are completely submerged underwater, and Hillsborough County Sheriff Chad Cronister says that they've done 200 rescues today.
And there's still some people calling. There's people saying, I thought it would go down. I thought the water would rescind a little quicker. Or, hey, listen, I've been in water long enough. But or, hey, it's starting to come up a little bit, which we expect it to go up. It's hitting an historic height at 20 feet, and they expect it to crest at 25 feet. And that doesn't happen until 10 p.m. tonight. So that's why we're remaining here.
This area, what you're taking a look at right now is some video of what it looks like inside of where these homes are. So we were on the boats out with deputies earlier today, and they were telling us that it has just been incredible for them to be able to see these homes underwater, something that these people in this neighborhood really were not expecting. Many of them have boats, so they were even able to get out on their own. But for those that may be elderly or have some kind of health complication as well that may impede them from getting out on their own, those are the people that had to be rescued. So here, this is a continuing effort that's going to span another several hours, and the water has not gone down since we've come here. In fact, it's even going to continue to go up. As you heard Sheriff Chad Cronister say, around 10 p.m. tonight is when they're expecting for it to get around 24.9 feet, almost 25 feet of water. It's an incredible amount that they just have not seen in probably over 90 years. We're live in Lithia. Angelina Salcido, 10 Tampa Bay.
Angie, thank you. And that's exactly why in Pasco County officials are urging residents in areas at risk of flooding to leave now and get to higher ground.
Tonight, 10 Tampa Bay's Hannah Deneen is live in Elfers. Hannah, this is a community that has seen this type of flooding before, and are they leaving their homes? What are they doing right now?
Well, Courtney, they've seen it before back in 2012, but for a lot of people who are new to Pasco County, which is a lot of people, they've never seen anything like this before. This is near record flooding along the Anclote River, and they have closed down parts of State 54. That's where we are right here. Because of that flooding, you can see straight ahead down here is where some of that flooding crosses this major roadway. Beals over here, for people who live in the area, is where first responders are staging. And they're staging there because this is an area where they've had to do dozens of high water rescues throughout the day and yesterday as well. It's been a nonstop effort. Take a look at this. This is Celtic Drive here, and the Anclote River is pushing across this street here. You cannot see the orange or yellow lines even moving down the road here because the water is just that deep. This is historic flooding in Pasco County. The Anclote River here is peaking at a flood stage of more than 26 feet according to NOAA, but it is not the only river that is, of course, impacted by this serious flooding. Hillsborough River in a major flood stage as well. Right now, we're told rescues are happening in Zephyr Hills and Hernando County. Also, they're calling on everyone to get to higher ground if you live along the Withlacoochee River. That's expected to peak early next week, so flooding there is going to be a concern throughout the entire weekend as well. If you're driving around the area, well, first and foremost, officials are asking if you can stay off the roads, please do. But if you do need to be out and about, expect to see across Pasco County dozens of roads just like this that have been closed off because of significant flooding. And of course, as always, they're urging people do not drive in flooded waters. Live in Eltzvers, Hannah Deneen, 10 Tampa Bay.
Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins is here. And Bobby, this is what we're seeing now. This is the action that has to happen with these.
You are, but most of what you just saw, all of those live shots, that water is cresting either right now or coming down this evening, but it's slow coming down. What you're seeing is rainfall flooding. This is not storm surge. Look where all the heavy rainfall. We were here. We're going to talk about some areas up here as well. Those areas are the ones that are really seeing the flooding. My neighborhood, Northwest Hillsborough, had quite a bit of flooding in it, but that water is gone now. It's now going into the rivers, the creeks, the streams, trying to make its way back to the bay and the Gulf. And that's what you're seeing there at the Anclote, where you just saw Hannah. They're saying maybe 25 later at the Hillsborough. This one's at 26.5 at the Anclote River. It looks like it's peaked because 26.57 was earlier today. It's at 26.4. right now. It's not a lot, but that's key because we do see it coming down and we don't see rain in the forecast. Now let's go up to the Alafaya River at Lithia Pinecrest Road. This too looks like it's just about crested today. I know the forecast is up here, but you can see it's kind of crested, maybe coming down just a touch. So very good news there. But notice, what is today? The 11th. So then you got tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, still slowly coming down. Now, the Hillsborough River, that one you can see right now crested. It looks like it's 17 feet. It's down to about 16 feet now. So it does look like that's coming, at least at that location near Zephyr Hills. This is the Little Manatee River. It crested yesterday, I guess, 17 feet. It's down to just below 16 feet. So that is coming down. But again, these come down really slow. Now, let's flip the page. Let's talk about Withlacoochee. This is up in Trilby. This is eastern Hernando County. Look where it is now, 15 feet. Look where it's going. That's through the middle of the week. So those levels will go up. It's a very slow rise for them. The Peace River in Bartow in western Polk County, right now at 8 feet. It's going up to almost 9 feet by the middle of next week, by Wednesday. So that river, the Peace, the Withlacoochee will go up. One more, Cypress Creek at Worthington Gardens, 13.75 now, going up to 15 feet by about Tuesday into Wednesday. So not everybody's out of the woods, and even the people that have seen it crest still have water in their homes, and they will for another 24 hours at least, because it doesn't just blow away. It's literally going down the river, and it's going to take some time before things start to dry out there.
Bobby, thank you. In St. Petersburg, engineers will soon clean up and remove parts of this crane that Milton toppled. It was being used in the building of what will be the tallest in St. Pete. It's now laying on the Times building. Over the weekend, St. Pete leaders say that they had conversations with the developers of 400 Central and were told that there wasn't time to dismantle this crane. Tonight, Governor Ron DeSantis believes local leaders should have pushed harder.
And look at this right here. Traffic jams at gas stations. Long lines as drivers hope to get gas before they run out. The latest data from Gas Buddy showing over 77% of gas stations in the Tampa and St. Pete area completely empty. 62% of gas stations out. A similar scene, too, across the Bay Area.
Now, the gas shortage is a major obstacle for many working to clean up and to recover, and for many, many more who are still just trying to get home to assess damage. 10 Tampa Bay's Miguel Octavio is live for us in Polk County. And Miguel, it's really, really hard to find gas in our coastal communities, but then farther inland as you travel the major interstates.
Courtney, I've lost track on the amount of people who've come here shaking their heads in disbelief at how long the lines are. And bad news, this is one of the 2 gas stations we've seen here in Lakeland so far that's working. Some of these pumps, as of recent few minutes here, they seem to not be working anymore. So more and more people just keep coming here, and less of them appear to be getting gas, and it's slowly just trickling in, making it even longer for them to get that gas. Some of them saying they've been waiting for at least a couple hours here today just to get some of that gas. This traffic on the shoulder of 98 is just bumper to bumper. People growing more frustrated and impatient at the amount of gas that they need here. You know, keep in mind, they're dealing with flooding within their own homes and rebuilding here as well. So they need those crucial supplies. They need to get food, and they need that gas in order to finish some of the things on their list here. But people here are just growing more frustrated. We know fuel tankers are on the way here. They say they cannot come soon enough. I want you to take a listen to what some people had to share as they waited in line for gas and also had to find a gas station that was working.
I honestly think everybody should have been better prepared. Yes. I've been living here for 66 years, all born and raised here, and I've never seen this, never ever seen stuff like this.
You know, so many people were just trying to prepare ahead of Hurricane Milton. They did not really think about the aftermath here, and they were hoping for better preparations from those in charge of fueling some of these gas stations. That for now, they're waiting every minute they can to ensure they can fill up their cars. Some of them are already running low on empty. Some of them are not even here from Polk County. They evacuated to some of these places to get to higher ground, and they know when they come home, for some of them, unfortunately, they still don't have power. They're going to face flooding within their own homes here as well. Now, this isn't just a problem here in Polk County. Pasco County Sheriff's Office asking people to stay patient here as well. They've been getting numerous calls for service over dispute, over arguments. I can tell you we've seen some of the tension behind here over people as they wait in line for gas. So certainly we hope the conditions here will improve, but this waiting game is getting much tougher for people out here in Lakeland. Frank and Courtney.
Hurry up and wait. Thank you, Miguel. And cleanup started over again. Pinellas County Beach is getting a double blow after this storm damage.
In just 3 minutes, our live team coverage continues from Treasure Island. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay.
10 Tampa Bay closed captioning is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Well, the phrase is, here we go again. Pinellas County barrier islands receiving another blow after Hurricane Milton swept through our area just 2 days ago.
Now, this comes just on the heels of Helene. Tonight, Luke Clary is live on Treasure Island. And Luke, right now, those same victims of Hurricane Helene are starting this process all over again, just with more damage.
Yeah. Now, I know that this is going to be hard to believe when you have overwhelming emotion here on Treasure Island has been relief. Relief that Hurricane Milton did not bring the storm surge that the previous hurricane Helene brought with it, that brought all of this sand. So what you're seeing here was pre-existing. A lot of this has been this way for the last 2 weeks. As you see down this road that has recently had to be cleared once again of additional sand, there's still lots of debris, almost the vast majority of which a result of the storm surge from, again, Hurricane Helene. Now, Hurricane Milton did bring heavy rains and driving winds as well, and that caused some shingles to come loose, windows to break, more trees to fall, but relatively superficial damage. And paradoxically, as one resident told me, it actually compacted some of these mounds of sand, making them look smaller than they were before. However, Hurricane Milton's effects were felt far and wide in St. Pete Beach as well. We talked to a woman who was just looking at all of the damage. She came from South Africa and said that she had never seen anything like the hurricane force winds that she experienced in the last couple of days.
It's absolutely terrible to see that devastation. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Like, you can't escape it. It's just around every corner there's more. It's really bad. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. And I come from a third world country.
And as you look on St. Pete Beach, there's debris up and down the beach. The resorts and inns and vacation homes there shut down with boards in the windows. That damage will take quite some time to repair, and it could be quite a while before the thousands of service workers return to work. But meanwhile, back here on Treasure Island, take a look here, a flatbed, a large truck with an excavator on the back, and I don't know if you can see just on the other side of it, this is probably blocking your view, but there is a fleet of excavators and bobcats and dump trucks. All of them had been working around the clock to try to remove a lot of this sand. And so that effort will continue very quickly. We've seen some of the bobcats already back on the roads, clearing the sand out of people's driveways so folks could get back to the work of recovery.
And you see that there's so much work that has to happen, and you just realize this is going to take years.
Yeah, they said that this was going to be life altering, and that's just the epitome of what we're talking about. Hard to tell if that's a sand dune or a street.
Yeah, it was a dune. The guy pushed onto the street. Most of that damage that you saw there was from Helene. It was from the surge from Helene. The water is just the most powerful thing, and it can move just about anything. Look at the surge numbers that we actually measured for Milton. And keep in mind, what he was basically saying is our friends at Treasure Island, all up and down our beaches, we're just so happy that we didn't get the 10 to 15 foot surge that was initially forecasted for Milton. It went just to the south of us, and because that center went to the south, they got it down south. Shamrock Park, Venice, 5 to 7 foot of surge, especially the southern, like behind the southern end of Longboat Key, those areas. Siesta Key, they saw more surge than anybody else. We did get a surge in Port Manatee. And Port Manatee's on the bottom side of the bay, kind of like just to the east of the south end of the Skyway Bridge, right? All of the water that was pulling out of the bay, we actually had a negative surge. The water level went down 1 to 3 feet in the bay, and you could see, like Bayshore, you could just see it was sand at the bottom. That water pushed up against Port Manatee, and they did see a small surge, but it was even there, it was a small one. Now, closer to home, we have some very quiet weather to continue all the cleanup. That's good news. We actually have some clouds that have kind of streamed in from the south. The rain is staying down south. But they actually kind of helped us out too, so it didn't get too warm with the sunshine being blocked a bit. Low 80s now. A little bit more on the muggy side than what we had yesterday, but still very comfortable. We'll drop down through the 70s for this evening. A breeze at times. We've had some gusts of 19 in Sebring, 16 in Tampa, generally around 10 mile per hour winds. Brooksville at 12, 10 in Crystal River with a little breeze out of this northeast around 16 miles per hour. So that feels good. Now the forecast through 8:30 shows quite a few clouds still around. We will clear out the skies a little bit tonight, especially after midnight. Tough to see the northern lights. We had a really good geomagnetic storm last night that reached all the way down here, reached the Bahamas. It's just not as strong left over now, so we're not going to see much tonight. You can look for it. Use your camera. Check out my Facebook page. I put a video on how to use your phone to take that picture if you can see it. 6:30 tomorrow afternoon. Clouds will thicken up today, and we didn't get it. And I put 10% because I just don't think there's a big chance. But I think we'll see those clouds thicken up just like what we did see today. Now, this evening, down through the 70s, very comfortable, and then eventually into the mid and upper 60s. All of these numbers are running about 1 to 2 degrees warmer than that time at yesterday. All right, so 8 o'clock, 76. We were about 74 yesterday at that time. All right, so tomorrow we'll go 84 for a daytime high. That's for your Saturday. Sunday's getting about 86 or so. We're getting a little bit warmer Monday and into Tuesday, but then we'll see a cold front. This is Saturday. See the dew points in the mid to upper 60s? Watch what happens Monday. See what's happening up here? Monday and the Tuesday front comes down, but it's getting stuck. That's Tuesday at 5 p.m. Now watch after that. It does come down, but it's probably going to take until Wednesday now for that to get through here, and we're only going to get a taste of it. That's typical for this time of year. You see this front on the forecast. It looks like it's coming through. It's going to feel fantastic, and then Well, we're not getting all of it. We get a little taste of it. That's kind of what's happening here. But still, it's nice. Now, this is, as we get into Sunday morning, see the difference? Humid, warm over South Florida, dry and cool over North Florida, and we're right there in the middle. Then we get into Tuesday, Monday night into Tuesday, we actually do get a little bit of a break. And then the big one's trying to get here Wednesday and into Thursday. That'll dry us out a little bit for next week. That tropical moisture here does look like it wants to go west into the Yucatan. I'll keep an eye on it. This is where we could have some development and drift into the Gulf of Mexico, but the latest runs, at least of the GFS, do take it off towards the west, which is just what we want. This is the GFS model. Watch this area in here as we get through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You see that? And then it starts to develop. That's Thursday, so that's a week from yesterday. And then this one actually takes it to the west. Some of them had it up in here in the Gulf of Mexico. All right, that's what you heard about Nadine. There is no Nadine yet. There might not be, too, right? That could be, but it looks like if that happened, it would go to the west. So I'll keep an eye on it. Nothing for you to worry about right now. Take the boards down. I took some of mine down. But keep in mind, you want to keep an eye on it because it is that time of the year. The season, almost another month and a half. In fact, it is. It goes through the end of November. I say once we get through Halloween, we're doing pretty good. So at least another 3 weeks or so. There's a 7-day forecast. You can see we are going to cool things down a little bit Wednesday and Thursday. Highs in the upper 70s near 80. And yeah, we're going to see some 50s around the area by Wednesday and Thursday morning.
Car making noises? Get it checked for free at AMCO.
Visit 10tampabay.com/recovery to find hurricane help.
Now, sports taking a hit now, too. Damage from Hurricane Milton forcing local teams to change plans.
USF will now play Memphis tomorrow in Orlando at 3:30. The Bulls were supposed to play tonight at Ray J. The football game was rescheduled to Saturday afternoon, but now the area. Stay with us. 10 Tampa Bay at 6 is next.